Hi, friends. Um, my name is Zach Milvo, and I will be doing my MVP presentation over My Losing Season by Pat Conroy. It's one of I would say, one of the most influential books I've read in a long time when dealing with leadership topics. Basically, Pat Conroy is a renowned novelist, has many famous books, including The Prince of Tides and Beach Music. But in this book, it's a personal memoir about his time as a basketball player at Citadel College in Charleston, South Carolina. Pat Conroy was a point guard for the basketball team, but was not one who was necessarily that talented. His senior year, his basketball team had a less than successful run at it, we'll say. And the book, My Losing Season, documents his journey and his leadership journey over the course of his senior year, with foreshadowing to his future and where he's headed from there, and also his past. Some of the most important points, or the most valuable points, I should say, from this book. One is that losing teaches you far more than winning does. I think that's obvious. I think that any of us can attest that we necessarily haven't learned the most from the times when we've succeeded. It's been the times that we've failed that have taught us the most. Walt Disney has a quote that says, "Though you may not realize it at the time, a good kick in the teeth may be the best thing in the world for you." And I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think adversity reveals character, and I think adversity really tells you who you can depend on, including yourself, and the type of person you really are at the end of the day. To compound on that, I think the second most valuable point for My Losing Season by Pat Conroy is the fact that you have to know yourself before you can lead. If you don't know who you are, if you aren't comfortable with yourself as an individual, then you're going to have a very hard time in successfully leading others. And I think that's a topic that Pat talks about a lot in his book, the fact that until he came to terms with who he was, his abilities and his shortcomings, his strengths and his weaknesses, he wasn't fit to lead other guys. He wasn't fit to be the leader of the basketball team and a leader in life. And so I think that's true for all of us as well. If we know who we are and come to terms with both our strengths and our weaknesses, then we'll be more successful leaders in the long term. And the third and final most valuable point for this book today is that flexibility is key. You cannot always be the same type of leader in every situation or every environment. In the book, Pat talks about his basketball coach, Mel Thompson, who is a strict authoritarian type leader and someone who Pat really struggles with. Nobody on the team really responds to him, and the coach is responsible for a lot of the team's shortcomings. I think that's true in our life, just not in the scope of sports, is the fact that you cannot just sit in front of people and yell at them and hope that they appreciate what you're doing or follow your mold. You have to appreciate who they are, and you have to lead from the middle, not the front. Some of the pros of this book is that it provides an individual perspective on leadership, and it really allows you to dive into Pat Conroy's journey, and see what makes this person tick and find some similarities and differences between Pat and yourself. And one con, however, is the fact that this happens at a military college, which is a little bit different environment than we're used to, and it happens in the 1950s, which is a little bit longer ago than many of us have experienced. So I think you take the good with the bad. I think this is one of my favorite books in terms of an individual perspective on leadership, and I suggest that if you've got some free time this year, check out My Losing Season by Pat Conroy. Thank you.